Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and it's been an interesting casting because this woman is extraordinarily woke, as everyone is in Hollywood, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen.
Then the star of the film, Rachel Zegler, proceeded to light all that goodwill on fire. She made it clear that she thinks the story of Snow White is actually very creepy and misogynistic.
Rachel Zegler is crashing hard as her woke Snow White gets pulled from theaters.
Now she's trying to reinvent herself because there's been so much blowback, and you can only imagine the studio calls about this woman behind the scene, like, oh my God, we're $242 million in, and our lead actress hates our film.
And I saw it myself on screen, and I just wanted to throw it.
Once upon a time, Disney thought they had a solid gold hit on their hands, a live-action reboot of Snow White, the princess who started it all. But what was supposed to be a magical return to the classics turned into, well, a total disaster. Now theater chains are pulling the movie from their schedules. Yanked. Gone. Poof. Just like that. Everyone's pretty shocked. This kind of thing almost never happens to Disney, the company that basically prints money with remakes like this. But this time, Zegler's in the hot seat alone. When Snow White finally hit theaters, you'd think there would be at least a small crowd pretending to be excited. But nope. Rachel showed up to a ghost town. She was literally the only one in the theater front row, grinning like the Joker, giggling at her own performance while row after row of seats sat cold and empty.
Decided to film herself in a theater totally empty, giggling, tee-hee-heeing with total glee.
Those clips of her laughing alone went viral, and, as expected, people aren't showing any mercy. Ouch. Ouch.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Well, this didn't age well. On top of the empty theater and the manic episode that followed, reviews slammed the movie as a preachy, joyless mess, which really sucks, because Rachel had pitched the film as a fresh moral reboot, a modern tale meant to uplift and empower.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude.
And all that schmaltz didn't help, because instead of inspiring anyone, it just annoyed the living crap out of die-hard Disney fans who wanted magic and nostalgia, not lectures and drama.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Man, the backlash has been swift and brutal. The 1937 classic will be around a lot longer than this Hollywood trash. Insiders are now reporting that things have gotten so intense behind the scenes that Miss Zegler is dealing with some serious emotional stress.
And despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
yeah, you can't really blame her for breaking down, because let's be real, this movie wasn't just bad press, it was all bad press. There were crazy rumors of on-set drama, creative disagreements, and backstage beef completely hijacking the conversation. Nobody was talking about the movie's story or visuals anymore. They were too busy gossiping about who was mad at WHOW. The time the film hit theaters, everyone had shifted from "will this be good" to "who's fighting now?" What we're hearing is that Rachel and Gal Gadot weren't exactly besties. That tension, combined with painfully low box office numbers, pushed theaters to bail out faster than the audience.
Gal Gadot's Snow White is listed as one of the worst films in history. Right now it has a 1.5. Okay, this isn't looking good.
Key markets reported nearly empty screenings on opening weekend, and that's when the Real panic kicked in. Safe to say, this might be Disney's biggest flop yet. Now, let's be real. Disney is known for throwing their marketing weight around. When they believe in a film, they push it hard: Happy Meal toys, bus ads, theme park tie-ins, the whole deal. But with Snow White, none of that magic worked. The film went from Disney's next big thing to what in the world happened here in just a few days.
Currently, Snow Woke and the 7 pronouns is sitting at 43% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes.
It all ended with Snow White earning a crown no one wanted: the worst box office flop in the history of Disney's live-action remakes. Yep. Worse than Dumbo. Worse than Pinocchio. Worse than even the ones you forgot existed.
Dumbo. That's sad, but yeah, like...
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live-action remake that they've ever done in Dumbo.
If Snow White was supposed to be Rachel Zegler's big Hollywood glow-up, well, that glow clearly just exploded in her face. Insiders say she's been hit hard by the realization that the movie, meant to showcase her talent, now feels like the beginning of a downward spiral. Of course, it doesn't help that there's been a Cold War with Gal Gadot. But hey, what's a Hollywood disaster without some co-star drama? The evil queen, Wonder Woman, and Rachel's rumored nemesis is playing the part. From the early days of the press tour, whispers circulated that the two had clashing political views, with Gal being of Jewish origin and Rachel speaking up for Palestine. Tensions were bound to arise.
Say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
That, combined with being trapped together on a global promo tour, was a recipe for awkward silence and side eyes. Things finally blew up when Gal planned a big cast and crew celebration meant to bring everyone together, a cute idea, until it turned into the Met Gala of passive-aggressive side conversations. Rachel didn't even show up, saying it clashed with her values, which was PR speak for, no, thank you.
The princess is pro-Palestinian, and the evil queen is a Zionist.
On-set reports said Rachel and Gal Gadot couldn't even fake liking each other. Rumors of ideological spats and political disagreements got so intense that filming had to be rescheduled more times than anyone could count. That meant ballooning budgets, overworked editors, and hours of footage that just didn't work. Editors were practically performing dark magic to stitch together scenes that looked remotely cohesive. One source said they could barely film 2 minutes of dialogue without tension crackling in the air. That tension spilled onto the screen, too. Audiences noticed the awkwardness. Reviews called the chemistry non-existent, with some saying it felt like watching two coworkers silently hate each other during a forced Zoom call. Disney tried to keep the drama quiet, but clearly, it didn't work.
Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for Disney.
At this point, even the marketing campaign was fighting for its life. Cancelled photo shoots, reshoots filled with weird tension, and PR teams probably chugging Red Bulls backstage just to survive. Nobody wanted to do interviews. Reporters were warned not to mention the two stars in the same sentence. Promo events grew strangely quiet or had to be rescheduled, but the real red flag came when online talk shows and Twitter started asking whether the film itself could even survive all this negative energy. Here's a little spoiler for you, it couldn't.
The movie hadn't even come out yet, and people were already debating whether Disney should just release it directly to the forgotten bin on Disney+. Y'all, the memes are unstoppable.
The movie hadn't even come out yet, and people were already debating whether Disney should just release it directly to the forgotten bin on Disney+. Y'all, the memes were unstoppable.
Weird.
With the bad press spreading like wildfire, the box office took a nosedive.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud.
Theaters scrambled to replace Snow White with literally anything else. Horror flicks, rom-coms, even reruns of old blockbusters were pulling more viewers. Insiders revealed that entire screening schedules were being scrapped because of how badly the movie was flopping. The final nail in the coffin came when theaters simply gave up. Disney execs held on to one last hope, maybe a strong second weekend could turn things around. You know, maybe word of mouth would magically do what marketing couldn't. But nope, instead, it got worse. More theaters pulled the movie. Apparently.
She refused to keep her fat mouth shut.
Theaters were dropping Snow White left and right, choosing literally anything else over it. Nobody thought the film could make a comeback, not even Disney. YouTube cat videos and Minecraft parodies were getting more views than the massive budget movie. Sources say the pressure on Rachel Zegler was unbearable, with tabloids, social media, and news outlets tearing her apart. Her comments about the original 1937 Snow White didn't help either. After the film was pulled, Rachel vanished, heartbroken and hiding from the spotlight. This wasn't just a flop, it was a branding nightmare for Disney, one of the most iconic roles in Hollywood history. Now, studios are nervous to cast her, and even Gal Gadot's camp is pointing fingers at Zegler for the chaos. Disney itself is reeling, asking, if we can't get Snow White right, what about everything else? So, what do you think? Was Rachel in the wrong movie at the wrong time? Is Disney's remake strategy officially toast? Would you have watched it if all the drama hadn't happened?